Okay, let's try to do this again. I'm gonna do same recipe, same everything. It's 6:30 in the morning about. So hopefully we'll be having bread by like 7 tonight. Who knows? Hopefully. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with a bowl. I added 400 grams of flour, 400 grams of water, and I realized I need to add 200 more grams. Because I'm like, wait a second, this isn't right. Our water and flour mixture together. We're going to let this rest for about an hour, and then we'll work on our next step. So it's been an hour, and now I'm going to add my starter, which is right here, and some salt, and then the rest of the water, because it was to do 420 grams of water. So that's like 20 more grams of water and 15 grams of salt. So I'm going to divot this. So that way the salt has somewhere to go. Okay, I think it's folded enough. I'm going to put it in a bin, my glass bin with a little bit of oil, and let it sit for an hour, and then we start our folds. Waited way too long, and I don't know if it's any good anymore. It doesn't seem that nice, so we'll see. Feels okay, but who knows? It's right around 1 o'clock. It doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. It's okay feeling. It feels kind of a little bit tacky, which is fine, and then a little bit airy. So I'm going to cover it with some saran wrap, and then give it a couple of hours. I want to see how it just bounces right back. Let me do this. It just bounces right back. We want that elasticity to calm down a little bit, so I think. So I'm going to cover it, and then we'll see in a few hours. It looks okay. It's a little bit jiggly, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and bake it and put it in there, so like 2 hours after it's like it proofed, basically. And I think sitting around any longer isn't doing any good, and it might actually be doing harm, because I'm afraid I'm either overproofing, or like the other day I think it over fermented, so it just turned. So there's some room in here. The bread is about just over halfway filled in. I used a little bit more flour and water this time. I just raised the numbers up a bit, because it was like, well, if I add more, it'll fill up more. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at this. That's a good possibility. Just go to the store and buy a loaf of bread instead. Anyway, the oven is warming up. It's going to be a few minutes, and then we'll put it in. So going off. I'm gonna put it for 45 minutes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's the right amount or any of that stuff. So you think I lost? I kind of got off script because I ended up leaving the bread for too long between folds, and I think I kind of gave me a lot of uncertainty about what this whole thing's gonna do. In theory, it should rise. The starter is in pretty good shape, so I think. I put in enough starter, and it has a good texture to it still. I just didn't want to get to over ferment, I guess, because when it gets too sloppy or just over proof, because then it goes all the way up and then it starts coming down, and then that's stuck too. So maybe either I think there was over ferment and the bad one. So anytime I'm doing this, I'm just kind of like I'm not guessing either. These are like recipes. But okay, time is going, but this should we'll see what it looks like. Oh, there we go. Oops. Wow, okay. Yeah, looks great. You can't see it that well on this with this camera, but it's risen. It's about doubled in size. So now I'm just putting some color on it, making that crust nice and crunchy. So it's got a nice rise. It ripped a little there and here. Maybe I should incorporate a cut. I could, just for aesthetics, really. It doesn't matter to me because the sides won't crack. This is the weakest area, so it's always going to crack here, and it doesn't matter. It's got a nice rise to it. It's got a nice height because it started. It was around here, so it rose all the way up to the top here. Let's smooth the camera down. Wait a second. You guys need to get perspective. So, from approximately here up to here is all rise. So that it did what I was hoping it would do. So all I did was just make the recipe bigger. Just accommodate, the pan can accommodate a lot more, so I gave it more. Now we wait. Alright, it's been like 3 hours, so let me just go ahead and get in this thing. One piece to allow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Nice crumb structure. A little bit more real estate. This is the end, so it's going to get a little bit bigger, but a little more real estate. I really think it's close. I mean, I just put more and then I got more, so that makes sense. So I think this the flavor is good. The crust is really nice. So
Yes, Scott.
yeah, hasn't the right amount of sour to it. This is nice and crunchy. This will taste really good toasted, but I think it turned out okay. So I think a solid B.